Welcome to the world of horror. Follow historical story and enjoy the heart-touching horror stories. Do you remember those days when a small toy or a small doll used to become our best friends? But in Japan, in 1918, there was such an unbelievable real incident that you may never make a doll your best friend. This is the story of 17-year-old Ikiki Suzuki and her sister Kikuko-chan, who was about to celebrate her little Kikuko's birthday, and she was about to be 4 years old. Her brother Ikiki wanted to give a memorable birthday gift to his dear sister, but his family was poor. Ikiki's father was a laborer who worked small jobs every day and ran a house, and his mother worked as a seamstress. This year's Coco was adamant that she wanted a beautiful doll on her birthday to be her best friend, but due to a lack of money, her parents clearly refused. But Ikiki loved her sister very much. He could not bear her sadness. For a whole month, Ikiki collected money by doing small jobs. He was looking for a beautiful doll for his sister in the market. At that time, he saw a traditional Japanese doll on a shop window. That doll was completely different from any other doll. There was a strange peace on her face, but her eyes were so deep as if she was seeing everything. That doll was wearing a traditional red kimono from Japan, and her black hair was coming to her neck. Ikiki liked that doll very much, and he immediately bought it for her 4th birthday. When Coco opened her gift, she went crazy with joy. She gave that doll the most special place in her room, started sleeping with her, and named it Okiku. That Coco liked that doll so much that she did not live without her even for a moment. She combed her hair, bathed her, and always kept her with her. But this happiness did not last for long. One day, while playing outside, a mosquito bit Coco, and she got a very terrible malaria. Panting, she kept the Okiku doll on her chest until her last breath, and finally, that little Coco died. In Japan, while burning dead bodies, the favorite thing of the person who died with them is also burned. That's why Ikiki and her parents wanted the Okiku doll to be burned with her, but they did not get permission from the temple. Because of which, in memory of Coco, they buried the Okiku doll in the hall of the house on a shelf. And the real horror in the story began here. One night, when Ikiki was sleeping, she heard faint sounds from the hall of the house, which woke her up. She felt like it was Coco's voice, like she was saying something and laughing softly. Ikiki went into the hall, but there was no one there. After that night, this often happened. Ikiki's parents also started hearing those sounds. One day, Ikiki came back home from work. And she saw in her room that all of Coco's drawings were scattered, and the Okiku doll was lying next to those drawings. Coco's parents were not at home, and the windows were also closed. So Ikiki did not understand how this happened. But that day, while putting the Okiku doll back on the shelf, Ikiki noticed something strange. The hair of that doll, which used to come up to her neck, were now growing long and coming up to her shoulders. In fact, the hair of that doll was black before, but now there was a brown shade like human hair in them, and they were also splitting from the ends. When Ikiki told this to her parents, they thought it was Ikiki's illusion, and Ikiki's mother cut the hair of that doll and put it back on her neck, which was probably her biggest mistake. As soon as she cut her hair, the Suzuki family's life became hell. That night, when Ikiki's mother was sleeping, she had a dream that Coco was crying near her because they had cut her doll's hair. And then suddenly, Coco's crying turned into anger and her face in that Okiku doll. Suddenly, she woke up. As soon as she opened her eyes, she screamed because the Okiku doll was there, sitting on her chest. Everyone in the house ran from her scream. When Ikiki's mother told her about her dream, Ikiki and her father were both surprised, but Ikiki saw that the Okiku doll was kept on the shelf outside. So how could this happen? Gradually, all the family members began to have bad dreams. Sometimes the three did not sleep at all. In all the terrible dreams, one thing was common. A few days passed for the Okiku doll to scare them and try to kill them, and the Okiku doll's hair began to grow more, and now they had come down from their shoulders. One evening, Ikiki was working in the hall, so he saw that the neck of the Okiku doll on the shelf was facing him. And then he saw that the Okiku doll blinked her eyes. Now there was a lot of paranormal activity in the house. The family members heard strange noises all day. Seeing the shadow of a little girl, all this had become very common. Now the three people in the family were very scared of that doll. One day, they decided to throw that doll somewhere. Ikiki's father went to the playground and bit the doll. But then that night, something happened that shook them all. That night, the three were sleeping in the same room. That's when they woke up to the sound of someone knocking on the door. It seemed like someone wanted to come in, as if it were Okiku who was screaming out of the door in pain and calling them to her. Gradually, the sound of knocking on the door became so loud that the whole house began to shake, as if an earthquake had come. And then after a while, everything calmed down. Ikiki's father opened the door with great courage. Then he saw that the Okiku doll had walked and stood in front of him. He wanted to scream, but there was no sound coming out of his mouth. Ikiki saw that the doll's long hair was growing, and the strands of her hair were wrapping around Ikiki's father's neck and slowly strangling him. Ikiki and her mother tried to get her out, but nothing was happening. Her father was on his knees in pain. His breath was about to end. It was then that Ikiki shouted out Kikuku's name in front of the doll. And then suddenly, the doll became lifeless. Her hair was caught, and Ikiki's father breathed his last. After that, whenever she tried to throw the Okiku doll or get rid of it, she would come back. This horror did not last for a year or two. Her family endured for 20 years. Whenever Kikuku's birthday came near, paranormal activities increased. She called many priests and monks, but whenever anyone tried, the condition of the house got worse. Finally, after 20 years of losing, she planned to leave the house and handed the doll over to the Menanji Buddhist temple in Japan. The temple monks also tried to cleanse the doll after hearing the whole story. But nothing affected that cursed doll. Almost 100 years have passed, but that doll is still properly packed in the same temple. Tourists can still see the Okiku doll in that temple in Japan, but it is not allowed to take its photos at all. It is said that no tourist can even see it for a long time. Otherwise, he starts having nightmares of that doll. Her hair still grows like human hair. And the temple monks also cut the hair of the Okiku doll from time to time. But the most horrifying thing that has been recently found is that the doll's mouth is slowly opening, and people can also see her teeth growing inside it. What do you think? Is Kikuku's soul attached to that doll, or is there some other secret behind it?